Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. If you like The Mike Wagner Show and you want to make your own podcast, well, let me tell you about Anchor. First of all, it's free. Secondly, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can also add any song from Spotify directly to your episodes. The possibilities are endless. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. You can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-ring author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, and heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And don't forget to support the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Also, make sure you give generously on Anchor FM/support and PayPal at the Mike Wagner Show. And for great gift ideas, including t-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, and tote bags, throw pillows, and more. Go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, including phone cases, t-shirts, and a lot more, go to Amazon.com/Me and Mosin Zia. Make sure you check out his books like Missing, Once, and More. Go to the Me and Mosin Zia store on Amazon. And don't forget to make sure you purchase today. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's got a book out called Relentless Pursuit. And he's not just an author. He's a renowned business owner, veteran, entrepreneur, life coach, and he's also the founder and president and CEO of Blackbriar Advisors. We'll talk about what he does. He also served as the principal founder and emerging partner of Inner Circle Management and a former COO of Ocean Waters. Also served in the U.S. Army. We'll talk more about that. And he also was born and raised in Florida as well, too, and also home of a very famous company. We'd love to write about that. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, business owner, veteran, entrepreneur, life coach, and the author of Relentless Pursuit, the amazing Stephen Nalley. Stephen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good afternoon. How you doing, Mike?
Well, we're doing great. Thanks for being on board as well. So you're a renowned business owner, veteran, entrepreneur, life coach, and the author of Relentless Pursuit. And you're a founder, president, CEO of Blackbriar Advisors. You also served as principal founder of Inner Circle Management. You also served in the U.S. Army as commando of the Army's elite 10th Mountain Division Unit. And also you were born and raised in Florida. And before getting to all that, tell us how I first got started, Stephen.
Oh, wow. Pretty long journey, man. I'm what, 52 now? So it all started back from high school. You go all the way back to the beginning of time. My family's very patriotic, so I need to do my patriotic duty. So I enlisted in the United States Army, served with a variety of units, most notably the 10th Mountain Division. I was a commando with the Special Troops Battalion with the 10th Mountain Division. Went to sniper school, airborne school, mountain warfare school, pretty much every school you can think of. The fascinating thing I learned about the Army, and I didn't learn it until I was getting out, but they pretty much structure everything for you. So all you have to do is show up every day and perform.
Oh,
they give you your training schedule. They pick your missions and you show up every day and perform. Then I started transitioning out of the Army. I'd already enrolled in college, and I realized all of a sudden my first day home, there's not a training schedule. There's not somebody telling me what I need to do. There's no litmus test. There's no bar. And I literally was sitting at my kitchen table, and that's where the foundation and principles for Relentless Pursuit came from. It goes all the way back to 1996, and me sitting at a kitchen table saying, all right, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to create my own standards, my own foundations, my own principles to knock out this college degree while working a full-time job? So that's where the foundation and principles came from. Went to college, got addicted to academics, went on to get a master's degree, went on to get a doctorate degree in business, and then later a law degree when I was 49. That was a couple of years ago from the Washington University School of Law. But my major was healthcare. And I was pretty excited about it because all the women in my family are nurses. So I figured, go be a healthcare administrator, right? Didn't like it too much. Did that for about 4 years and realized I was always getting yelled at by my mom and my sisters because I was on the opposite side of all the patient care issues. Went into the biotech industry, started out as a regional sales representative, then started working on the MMA side, the mergers and acquisitions, and then started my own company, which is pretty much what's led me to where I'm at today, which is my company, Blackbriar Advisors, which we are a owner and asset manager of hotel and resort assets, mostly distressed. But I think our real background comes in the fact that we've either owned or managed about $2 billion in hotel and resort assets in the last 20 years. So that's really what I'm known for. I got into mentoring. I don't really call it life coaching because that's not what I do. Sounds more like a drill sergeant, but really got into mentoring about 20 years ago when I had veterans that were contacting me that were having trouble making this transition from the military world to the civilian world. And it started out as something pretty light, talking about how to do a resume and translate those military skills into those civilian skills on paper, then led into prepping people for interviews on how to have those discussions. And then it translated into small business consulting, for veterans who wanted to start companies. The amazing thing is I've never charged the veteran. All the work I've done with veterans in terms of mentoring has been pro bono. Most of those candidates come to me through either the VA or friends and family. And I love doing it because it was a very, very difficult transition for me. If you can imagine, every single day you get up at a certain time and somebody's got a training schedule for you. You basically show up and perform. And then all of a sudden, one day you're back in the civilian world after a career of that. And you're just sitting around going, all right, what's next? Well, you're now the 4-star general. You're now the squad leader, the platoon leader. It's up to you to figure that out. And then how do you set that bar? And then how do you navigate in this world where you're basically a stranger? And the reason I say that is because you are a stranger. You went from serving with the same guys in the same team for years and years and years. And now all of a sudden, nobody quite understands you. And I'm not talking about the guys coming back from conflicts. I'm talking about everybody was on the same page. Everybody was doing the same thing. All of a sudden, you're back in the civilian world and everybody's not doing the same thing. You talk to 100 different people. They have 100 different goals. They're all going in different directions. And you're trying to figure out which lane you should get in and which road you're going to take. So I kind of figured that out and became an expert at that transition phase, which is essentially, like I said earlier, which is where the foundation and principles that you see in Relentless Pursuit came from, was based on 20 years of me starting with a top 10 list and then just kind of honing it out or expanding upon it until 2019, when somebody said, well, why don't you just write a book? And I said, that's a pretty good idea. And I did. We published it in November of 2019. It's been doing very well.
Wow, that's amazing. And what is your top 10?
Well, it starts with knowing what you really, really want. Then you have to find a compelling reason why to achieve it. And that compelling reason why has to exceed the adversity that you're going to find along your journey, because that's the reason that most people don't accomplish their goals, is because either A, they don't have a compelling reason why to achieve it, or B, they didn't really start for the right reasons, which means it wasn't what they really, really wanted. Then we get into multiple styles of communication. I talk in my book a lot about the ability to sell yourself, talk about who you are, looking in the accountability mirror and finding out who you really are and what you really want. We talk about this constant state of learning, which is how I accumulated all these academic degrees. I haven't even got into all the free classes that I take on Coursera and EDX, which are Ivy League schools that offer pre-recorded classes for free. You can take them for free, which is why I don't understand how everybody doesn't do it. But
pre-recorded we talk classes for free. That's interesting. It's like that's something. Either that's something that was like, what was it, pre-internet or pre-Allison, or I'm trying to think of that other free college. It's like
correspondence courses.
What's that?
Correspondence courses.
Yes, that's it. That's the one. I was trying to think of the other one, which is similar to Allison. I'm trying to remember what it is. That's like, I'm trying to think, but it'll come back later. So anyway, continue on. This is interesting.
Yeah. So we talked about this continuous state of learning, which was in the top 10, the fact that every single day I have to become better than what I was yesterday. And it's become, after all these years, to me now, it's completely random. Meaning I wake up every single day or the night before I write something down, it'll be a weakness. That's another theme in the book. I hear people say, oh, you should double down on your strengths and delegate your weaknesses. I'm not disagreeing with those folks because I'm not the type of guy, but I have my own program. I triple down on my weaknesses every day. When I find a weakness, I just absolutely become obsessed with it. And my whole goal is to put work behind it so it's not a weakness anymore. Then I have this win or learn philosophy. I don't believe in losing. I don't believe in failure, even though I say failure is not an option. But my definition of failure is quitting or never getting started. So we either win or we lose. We don't fail until it's over. I think in the book, I say somewhere I talk about Vince Lombardi, and he was interviewed after a loss one time, and he acted confused and said, loss, we didn't lose. We just ran out of time. We'll be back next week. And that's kind of where I got that philosophy from was, hey, wait a minute. It's like an endless round of golf. I love golf as an analogy, even though I'm terrible at it and I'm getting ready to have to cut back some more. Yeah. But you hit a bad tee shot. Guess what? Just like in life, that next shot is from where your feet are. It's from where the ball is. You don't get unlimited mulligans in life, but it's like these endless amount of holes. That's what life is. I noticed, I don't know if you remember that Bubba Watson recovery shot in the Masters years back. It was probably 10 years ago, where I think he was on the 17th tee and he just shanked one completely into the woods and hit the greatest recovery shot of all time. But when he's standing there over top of that ball and the announcers are just dogging on him, like there's no way he's pulling off this shot. You see the amount of focus and concentration on his face. He's not thinking about the bad tee shot he just hit. He's not thinking about putting on the 17th green. He's not thinking about the 18th hole. He's thinking about that shot that's right in front of him right then. So that was another theme in the book that was originally in my top 10, that I have to focus on the now. I can't live in the past. I can't live in the future. You know, there was this great study from the National Science Foundation about 15 years ago that said 80% of our thoughts are negative every day. And we have between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day. Wow. And I said, man, that's crazy. So how do I get most of my thoughts to be positive? That goes into mindset. I don't really go that deep in this book. The book that I'm having published now is all about mindset. That completely goes into that theory. But, you know, part of the top 10 was, man, you got to live in the now. Like you're driving to the university this morning. The only thing that should be on your mind right now is the class you're getting ready to walk into and what you need to do to ace that class. You know, I'm not thinking about girls. I'm not thinking about friends. I'm not thinking about issues. I'm literally solution oriented. There are no problems. And who was it that said, I think it was Edison that said, stay away from negative people. They got a problem for every solution. And I wrote that down.
Mm-hmm. I think that was Edison. You're right. Yeah. It was somewhere along those lines.
So that was a part of the top 10. Like we got to live in the now. Meaning if I get caught up with all these friends that are calling me, talking about, hey, good to have you home, man. Hey, you want to have lunch? You want to do, if I get caught up in all that, then I'm going farther and farther away from my goal. So I've got to stay on task. There are 2 chapters in the book on communication. And this is kind of funny. When I wrote down my top 10, I wrote down communication twice. Oh, right. And when my mom saw it sitting on the kitchen table, she said, you know, you wrote down communication twice. Well, I was embarrassed. So I said, well, that's because I got to be twice as good at communication. Well, come to find out, communication would be a theme throughout this entire book. And when I talk about the ability to communicate, I'm not just talking about words. I'm talking about the way that we receive feedback and the way that we deliver feedback. Because if I was ever going to be really, truly good at what I do, then I need to get information from everywhere. And if someone is taking the time to give me some negative feedback, then, man, I really got to be open to that. You know, I've got to assimilate that into my daily routine in terms of my notebook, in terms of my weaknesses. And I really got to take a look at it. Now, I may disagree with it once I get into the research, but I got to be open-minded to hear it. I can't just shut somebody down and say, you don't know what you're talking about, or that's not me. So it really became this concept of how do I triple down on my weaknesses and getting there by being open-minded. And then the last part was passion. That's the last chapter of the book. And I said, man, how do I get passionate, you know, every single day? I mean, how do I wake up? And I ran into this guy. I don't even remember his name. And I said, man, I need to find a shot of motivation every day. And he said, Stephen, you don't need motivation. Motivation is crap. Motivation gets you through 15 minutes of something. What you need is passion. And I was like, passion? You know, we barely had the internet back then. It was America Online. Like there wasn't much research. So I'm like, passion. What is this word passion? Mm-hmm. And sure enough, once I went to the library and I started digging up this word passion, I started thinking, man, that's what I had, you know, back with the 10th. That was passion. Passion got me up every morning. Passion kept me up. Passion kept me training. And I said, man, what if I can translate that? What if I can get that over, convert, you know, 80% of my negative thoughts to half of those being positive thoughts, generate this passion and put this passion to work and get my mindset to work for me instead of against me. You know, and I just started chunking away at it. So the last chapter probably is the most important chapter, which is passion. Meaning you've got to, once you decide what it is that you want. And by the way, I define success in my book is whatever goals you set for yourself and whether or not you achieve them. So I'm not a Warren Buffett has a net worth of 50 billion and I don't. So therefore Warren Buffett's successful and I'm not. I'm saying you're successful based on what goals you set for yourself and whether or not you achieve those goals, and they should be realistic. You know, so I was able to trigger after about a year, this, I can't really describe it. I describe it in my book, this passion threshold where my alarm clock goes off, I pop up, meaning I'm up. I mean, I'm straight, I'm standing up and it's go. It starts off with 100 push-ups and it doesn't stop. I typically sleep about 3 hours a night, but it's passion that keeps me going. It's the next goal, you know, and I'll tell you something funny, Mike. I was talking to my wife when I sent the book off to the publisher to get it published. And I said, man, I really don't know what I'm going to do now. I mean, I've checked all these things on my list that I wrote down 20 years ago. That's it. Last one, write a book. Like, what am I going to do now? And she said, you figure something out. You always do. Sure enough, woke up the next morning, boom, popped up at 6 a.m. And it's like, all right, what are we doing today? Well, I'll tell you what, let's go build another company.
There you go.
And I built 6 more since then.
Wow, that is amazing. And of course, getting back to your top 10 as well, too, that you listed, so some of the things you wanted to accomplish. You talk about some of the weakness. What was the most challenging in your top 10, and how did you, and why, and how did you manage to overcome that challenge?
What it was that I really, really wanted. Mm-hmm. That was the challenging thing, because although I was committed to healthcare, I wasn't really committed. And I write about that in my book, that, everybody in my family was in healthcare, so it seemed like a natural fit. The problem was it wasn't for me. And I think that was the hardest thing, as I was going down that road, getting my degree, my undergrad degree in healthcare. And as I'm getting deeper and deeper into these classes, I'm thinking, this isn't really what my mom does. This isn't really what my sister does. This isn't nursing. This is administration. This is codes. This is laws, statutes. It's a completely different environment than what I thought it was. And the farther that I got down that road, the farther I began to realize that. And it wasn't until 2001 that I think all of a sudden I saw this real estate thing, and it was instant. It was love at first sight. I mean, it was just literally, I had met this guy. He was a billionaire. His name was Charles A. Bray. And he had a partner named Joseph G. Gillespie, both of which were billionaires. And I was having a conversation about what they do, and they were basically buying up all the oceanfront property in Volusia County. They owned 43 hotels at the time.
Wow.
And just after a 30-minute conversation, I'm looking around going, yeah, I'm going to kill this. And I said, y'all don't know it yet, but y'all just hired a chief operating officer. And he was like, excuse me? I said, yeah, you just hired a chief operating officer. You just don't know it yet. And they did.
That is rather fascinating. We'll talk about your company as well, too. Also talk more about your Army experience and more, a little bit about your book, Relentless Pursuit. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and enjoyed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forge Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be here on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, and heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And don't forget to check out the Mike Wagner Show merchandise at themikewagnershow.com for t-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, and more. Just go to amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to amazon.com/me and Molson Zia and check out his great books like Missing, Once, and More. Go to Amazon and check out the Me and Molson Zia store, amazon.com/me and Molson Zia. And to support the Mike Wagner Show, go to themikewagnershow.com and give generously. And also, you can also support and donate at Anchor FM/support, and also on PayPal as well. Make sure you do it today. We're here with author Stephen Nalley of Relentless Pursuit here on the Mike Wagner Show, renowned business owner, veteran, entrepreneur, and mentor, and also author as well too, and founder, president, CEO of Blackbriar Advisors. And before we get back to being with Blackbriar Advisors, you served in the U.S. Army from 88 to 96. What was your most challenging mission that you ever been on, during that time from 88 to 96, and how'd you manage to accomplish it?
I'm going to go back to training. Mountain Warfare School. Anybody that's listening right now that served with the 10th Mountain Division, especially the Special Troops Brigade, understand that at Fort Drum, New York, if you go through Mountain Warfare School in the winter, which means your average temperature is about between 12 and 20 below zero.
Wow.
20-mile road march with a 120-pound pack with about an additional 30 pounds of gear. that probably was the most challenging obstacle that I ever came, and it was for time. So I distinctly remember not really knowing what the agenda was. When I went to Fort Drum as a part of the 10th Mountain Division, I was with the Cohar unit. We were the first. We literally pulled the plastic off the furniture in the barracks. We were the first unit there when the unit moved from Fort Benning to Fort Drum. So no one knew what to expect from Mountain Warfare School because it really didn't exist prior to us getting there. So very first task right off the jump is a 20-mile road march with a 120-pound pack with about an additional 20, 30 pounds of gear, and for time. And I remember when that task and edition standard came out, it was about 17 below zero. There was probably about 2 foot of snow on the ground. And everybody's like huddling up, trying to figure out, man, how do you adjust this gear? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I remember asking, I said, it's that way, right? Like I just pointed down the road and they said, yeah. And I just took off. And I'm thinking, no problem, right? I breezed through basic training, AIT, airborne school, sniper school, like this, no big deal. Never gone 20 miles with that kind of weight before. Farthest road march I had done at that point was 12 miles with about 60 pounds. Well, I got about 10 miles into that bad boy. I'm slipping on the ice. My shoulders are killing me. My knees are killing me. My back's killing me. And I'm halfway there. Mm-hmm. And there's another theme in the book that comes from this precise moment. And I said, man, I'm halfway. So quitting's not an option. Crying is an option. Hurting is an option. Pain's an option. Sacrifice is an option. Starvation is an option, but quitting's not an option. I'm halfway, so I'm not going to cry to quit. I'm going to cry to win. I'm already in pain. I'm getting some for it. Like I'm getting through this. And I'll speed to the end. When I got done, I had stress fractures in both legs, in both shins. I had a broken right foot, which I'm still getting disability for to this day. Mm-hmm. It was actually a training op. That was the toughest adversity I think that I'd faced early in my military career, not only because of the situation or the task condition standards, but the environmental, or not environmental, what do you call it? The external factors, the 16 below zero, or 17, it was 16 or 17, but cold as hell. Mm-hmm. Like my face was frozen. Ended up trying to figure out, how do I negotiate this last 10 miles? So I started negotiating with my body to give my mind, or negotiate with my mind to give my body, more strength. And I remember I finished it first. I finished it under the time. And I just remember hurting so bad, thinking to myself, man, nobody's going to finish this. Like, this is crazy. Mike, they changed that. And my boys from the 10th Mountain will know this. Mountain Warfare School is no longer a 20-mile road march with that kind of weight. It's now a 12-mile road march with 60 pounds. Mm-hmm. They changed it after that. You ever seen that? Who was Bear Bryant when he was at Texas A&M? Have you ever seen that documentary on him about the Junction Boys?
I have heard something about that. And the thing I remember about Bear Bryant is that he was a longtime coach at Alabama. And I did hear some stories, but not the one about the time he was at Texas A&M, but I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, but Bear Bryant, before going to Alabama, he was the coach at Texas A&M. So he decided that he needed to make sure, because they were a declining program, that he needed to make sure that everybody that was there needed to be there or wanted to be there. So this documentary is awesome. There's actually a film, and all these people are sneaking away from camp in the middle of the night. That's how bad, he dogged them, meaning like by the time they were done, they didn't even have enough people left to fill out a team. Wow. And Bear Bryant said he learned something from that. Number one, the players that stuck it out and made it through, he forever had respect for them. Like even before he died, he was still investing in their businesses, meaning he had mad respect for these kids. But number two, he had to dial it back because he knew he was flirting with crazy. That's kind of like Mountain Warfare School. When I first got to drum, that was the last time anybody ever did the 20 miles, with the 120-pound rucksack in those conditions, because it was just unconscionable. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the biggest adversity that I faced my entire military career. Probably not the most complex thing, but probably the first thing, and even to this day, the thing that I had to dig physically the most for, like dig deep. Mm-hmm. Like I doubted myself that there's no way I'm going to make it. And then I kept saying, all right, well, I'm going to go another 100 yards. Mm-hmm. And then I go another 100.
Mm-hmm. And that thought came to my mind as well, too, that you went from 88 to 96. And of course, going 20 miles with, 60 pounds on your back and 12 to 15 and 20 below zero weather in those conditions and all these exercises. Do you think the Army has scaled back on a lot of it ever since? Has it stayed the same, or do you think it's gotten tougher, as of today?
I can speak for the 10th Mountain Division because I talk to a lot of the guys that have served there, especially with the Special Troops Battalion since IETS then left. I mean, the training regimen is not as stringent. I mean, it's still up there. I mean, there's not a more highly, the 10th Mountain Division is the most deployed unit in military history. I mean, we're talking about guys that get out there and get it done. You're talking about the most elite light infantry force on the planet. I mean, training is rigorous, and the mountainous conditions up there in upstate New York are incredible. But I don't think the training was for Mountain Warfare School what it was then, because they revamped the whole thing because the large number of people that got chewed up. I can't remember how many people we started with in that class, but we finished with like 15, and not finished with 15 because people passed or failed, finished with 15 because all the rest of them were injured. I mean, legitimately injured, and they had to revamp that school after that. And that right there, Mike, that I'm telling you about, the 20-mile road march, that's day one. That's right jump. You still got another 30 days, Wow. So that's how bad it was. But I tell you what, once I got through it, I said to myself that the Army will never ask me to do anything again that I'm not capable of doing, because, it's not going to get any worse than that. It can't possibly get any worse than that. My confidence actually went through the roof. I also think another challenge that I had was going from being an enlisted man to a non-commissioned officer at such a young age and becoming a team leader. When I became a team leader, and I'll share this story and O'Donnell won't mind, James O'Donnell was my best friend. He was my counterpart on my team. Well, when I got promoted, I became his team leader. And it used to be funny because I'd come in on Monday morning. I'd say, all right, lay out your TA-50. And he'd be like, I ain't laying out crap. You go out drinking with me on the weekend, and you come here and try to tell me what to do, during the week. Like, no, I don't play that. And it was kind of funny because I didn't really know anything about leadership, meaning that was my first foray into the leadership role in which, you're now putting other people ahead of yourself, And it took me a good adjustment because I'm guessing I was immature at the time. It's second nature to me now. But how do I handle all these guys that were friends of mine yesterday, but today, I'm in the position of authority and they kind of feel cheated or robbed, And that was a real challenge. And I tell you what, after about 3 months, I got some great advice from an E7, my platoon sergeant, and I sat down with each guy one-on-one and I say, listen, I didn't ask for this. Meaning I didn't go to anybody and knock on any doors and ask them for a promotion. The Army doesn't work that way. Fortunately or unfortunately, I have the points, the promotional points. I've gone to the schools and I was tapped and selected, and Department of the Army gave me this rank, but I have not forgotten, what a valuable friend you are. I'm not going to abuse you. I'm never going to ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. I will always take point. I will always be the first out the door and the last in. I promise you that. I will put out 20% more than what I ask you to. And then I just lived by that and got mad respect from guys because, any guy that served me will tell you, it was never a joke to me, meaning I would never ask anybody to do anything that I wasn't willing to do myself. And for that, guys kind of started lining up behind me, and we started getting some stuff done.
It sounds like a really good advice too, that you're going from regular to management and everything else. And you also transitioned into you being a CEO of Ocean Water, served as principal founder of Inner Circle Management, and also founder, president, CEO of Blackbriar Advisors. And just tell us about the progression of those companies and more about Blackbriar Advisors and hotels. And I guess my question is, what got you interested in hotels?
It was the meeting that I had with Charles A. Bray and Joseph G. Gillespie. When I was looking around, they were explaining to me what their company did. I can't remember why I was meeting with Charles A. Bray. I remember getting a phone call and somebody saying that he wanted to meet me thinking, who the hell is this guy? And I called a friend of mine here in Jacksonville who was pretty well to do. And I said, hey, this guy Charles A. Bray wants to meet with me. I've never heard of him. He said, Stephen, he's a billionaire. You need to meet with him.
Oh, wow.
And I drove down there. I drove to Daytona and I met with him for all of about 30 minutes before I looked around and said, yeah, this is what I want to do. I was there for the 8 hours for the rest of the interview process. And at the end of it, I was hired because I refused to leave until I was hired. And I said, listen, I currently make X, but here's what I'm willing to do. And this is going to throw a lot of your listeners. I'll come work for free, but here's what I want. I want the education. I want everything you got. Man, I want to sit on every meeting. I want to do this. I want to do that. And they say, Stephen, we can't let you work for free. We'll pay you like $65,000. I don't remember what it was, but it was 25% of what I was making at the time. And I said, bet, but I get to be in every single meeting. I get to go to every negotiation, every deal. And he agreed. And that's exactly what I did. And within about 2 years, I had a pretty good idea of how everything worked. And I'm not just talking about internally, externally as well. Charles Bray retired in 2007. He moved back to Gainesville, Georgia, and I started Inner Circle with Joe Gillespie, the other partner. And we formed Inner Circle Investments, Inner Circle Management, Inner Circle Capital, and did really, really, really well. And then I started Blackbriar Advisors in March of 2020. And essentially that company, same industry, same relationships, kind of a slightly different theme. And you remember what happened in March of 2020, COVID. Okay. So I'm looking out there thinking, man, there's not going to be too many hotel acquisitions. And I don't know if I'm going to be buying any hotels for a while because of COVID. But I tell you what this world needs. This world needs asset management. And this world needs somebody who understands distressed real estate assets. And in comes Blackbriar Advisors. And that's exactly what I say predicted. I mean, it's all over the news, but that's exactly what happened. So one of the projects that Blackbriar Advisors is working on right now is we have, according to the American Hotel Lodging Association, about 40% of the existing hotels will not reopen. And if they do, it's not going to be until after 2024, which means that the majority of them will be functionally obsolete, which means they will never reopen as hotels. And then I'm on Fox News reading on their website, and I see hotel crisis. You got the Hilton and the Marriott statistics, and right underneath that is the affordable housing crisis. And I don't know why I lined those two things up and said, hey, wait a minute, $125,000 a door to build an apartment. Okay, you can buy one of these hotels and convert them to micro apartments for about $40,000 all in. That's renovated the whole nine, and you can deliver those units at 60% of the cost of new development, and that includes utilities. And I said, I think I have something here. So I put that business plan together, formed Blackbriar Advisors, went out and started pitching it. And I've had an overwhelming response. One of the issues with affordable housing is you got to deal with the municipalities. There's some government play there when you start getting into, some of the Section 8, Section 118s. And right now we're in contact with about 32 municipalities and working on conversions. And it's going very, very well. It forced me to actually go get registered as a disabled service-connected veteran-owned company and registered with the SBA because I needed that designation in a cage code to be able to effectively deal with some of the government entities, when it comes to the affordable housing and the low-income housing. But so far, overwhelming response. I'd like to take credit and say I invented that model, but that model's been around for about 10 years. It just hasn't gotten much traction, at least not from the affordable housing standpoint. But man, we're really excited about that at Blackbriar right now. We're pumping that out and we're doing everything we can to make it a reality.
And do you think the state of hotels is going to change forever after the March 2020 pandemic where everything shut down? It's like you have your standard hotel and so you get greeted by the doorman, room service and all that. And do you think that's pretty much going to change hotels forever? And if so, how?
I'm going to give my personal opinion here. And this is my personal opinion, not professional, because nobody knows.
Right.
I think it is going to change considerably. I mean, we remember back, and you remember this, Mike, 10 years ago, you're walking through the airport and 1 out of 100 people had a mask on and you laughed at them. Or you didn't laugh and you was thinking, man, well, what the hell do they got? They're trying to give everybody, they're going to wear a mask. Well, now, if you see somebody without a mask, it seems pretty weird. It's like, why didn't that guy have a mask on? I think social distancing is here forever. I see myself doing it subconsciously. I see myself stopping in the grocery store when I'm standing in line and making sure I got my 8 feet. It's not 6, it's 8, because I want to give the people in front of me respect. I see myself now when walking down the sidewalk or walking through the mall, staying to the right. I mean, it's already happening subconsciously because it's become a habit. Can hotels go back to the point to where people are literally meet and greet, 300 people in a lobby? Man, I don't know. And something that COVID did that 9/11 didn't do. It's been a year or so now. People have actually survived not traveling. They've survived. I mean, New York City is a ghost town. All of my friends that work for investment banks that were working in New York City aren't there anymore. They're all working from home. So, there's $1.5 million a year in expenses. If you're an investment bank in New York City, you don't have to feed anymore. So I think people are starting to adjust to life without travel. We didn't go on summer vacation last year. And I got to tell you something, nobody cried. Nobody died, saved about 12 grand and probably won't be going anywhere this summer. It's become habit. So will people get those travel habits back? Now, I will tell you this, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, somebody called me on a consulting job and said, hey, these guys are reporting numbers that are better than 2019 numbers in Myrtle Beach. And I said, man, they're full of crap. You better get tax returns. Sure enough, they got the tax returns. They called me back, sent it to me. Certified tax returns.
Wow.
They're doing better. They're doing better from a revenue standpoint right now, already year to date, than what they did in 2019 in Myrtle Beach. So there's some hope there. Now, that's a drive-to market. Most of the people that go to Myrtle Beach don't get on airplanes. They drive it in, and it is the off season. So we'll wait to see what happens in June and July. But, that was pretty promising. But a lot of these hotels were barely hanging on to begin with before COVID. I mean, literally, they weren't servicing debt. They were already in trouble, and they're just functioning obsolete. I mean, when's the last time you stayed at a motel, Mike?
Oh, my gosh.
A motel.
I'm going to have to go back to my memory bank. My wife has a better memory than I do when it comes to staying in a hotel or motel or just bringing the kids or the family dog. I mean, I have to really go back, I don't know, a year or two or something like that. It's like the so-called microfiche. I got to get the dust on my brain to remember that.
Right. Yeah. So, there's a lot of these exterior corridor motels and hotels that are we're already starting to be functioning obsolete already because of security issues. So those hotels were already barely hanging on. And then you have a bunch of brand choices that were out there. So, even if not for COVID, I think we were beginning to get overbuilt in some of these places. Are you in Wisconsin?
Well, actually, that's a good question. I was born and raised there and then lived in Chicago. I'm up in Bismarck, North Dakota, and there's actually quite a few hotels that were ready to shut down, but then you had a management property come in and actually turn those hotels into studio apartments. And I saw there where it's like, we stayed in one maybe a few years ago. Then we looked and said, so-and-so apartments. It's like 1 bedroom, $650, 2 bedrooms, $750. And I look at that, I'm like, wow, that's fairly affordable. And you also have another hotel that got turned into subsidized housing in a positive way. It's like, people who are working, they're not homeless people or, drug addicts and all that. They're actual working people. They hit bad times and, they're paying like about 30% rent, based on their income. So those things have been coming up in Bismarck and other places that you're seeing these former hotels turning into apartments of whatever degree, even like retirement homes.
Yeah, well, I've owned some hotels up that way. Cheyenne, Wyoming. I own the former Holiday Inn, Radisson. I converted it to a Radisson. Billings, Montana. I bought a Holiday Inn there, which I converted to a Radisson. I think both of them are red lines now. I've sold them a couple of years back. But originally, one of the largest hotels that I bought in the last 10 years was the Radisson in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and we did a humongous renovation on there, and we actually built the convention center that's attached to it.
Nice.
So that was the sad thing about that is we built that convention center. It was just getting ready to take off. It was in its second year. Bookings were through the roof, brand new convention center, competing with Green Bay. Appleton's actually competing with Green Bay. COVID hits.
Football.
Yeah. Well, COVID hits. That's it. There's no more conventions, no more convention center. I mean, I don't know that I don't know that the hotel will ever perform at the level that it was performed before. And this is my personal opinion, because there's just not enough data out there on social to tell how you and I and how our neighbors are going to feel at any given time or any given point and say, do we want to get on a plane and take the family to go on a vacation? Do we want to travel for business? Is it worth the risk? You know, we're not really going to know the effects of the vaccine. And I don't want to get into medical until there's a large enough.
Right. And we're trying to stay away from that topic as much as possible. Yeah. That's a very hot button topic at this point. And I'm going to say this right now. I need more data, more information before, if I declare if it's safe or not. It's like, you know, it's already being rushed out there. And I suggest everybody keep doing your research.
Yeah. And that's my point, that even if people decided or didn't decide, we won't know for probably 2 or 3 years whether or not the true benefit is there, whether or not it's working. People get herd immunity confused. Herd immunity occurs at the peak. Eradication is what they're looking for. And we're not going to know. I mean, we're coming up on what, our second season now? Mm-hmm. You know, it's around that time frame. I mean, there's just not enough data out there to know, you know, what the effects are, the benefits, the negatives. So people are holding back right now with their checkbooks saying, you know what, let's not go on summer vacation this year. Let's wait to see what happens over the next 12 months. And the same thing can be said with businesses. And they're saying, you know what, maybe not go to the convention this year. We'll just hold those dollars back and maybe we go next year. You know, and I think that's kind of the holding pattern. So I don't think we're going to get a clear picture of what's going to happen with the hotel industry probably till well into 2023. There's just no way to know. Everybody's guessing.
Mm-hmm. I won't be surprised too. And in fact, if you're willing to drive to Bismarck or whatever it is, we'll meet for coffee and and you can show me in person how you managed to purchase a hotel, renovate, and everything else. And I'd love to see in action over a cup of coffee. So pick a hotel you want to buy, and I'm there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And then I think from there, you know, once I got Blackbriar up and going, and that was going good, I don't even know how my book started to get traction. So I started to get phone calls about life coaching. And I was saying, I'm not even a life coach. Mm-hmm. And they're going, yeah, well, I heard from so-and-so and so-and-so, all these veterans I had mentored. So I went and got my certification as a life coach, and literally put it out there to the public that, you know, I had 3 slots a day available, paid slots. They were gone in 2 hours.
Wow.
So, you know, I'm full right now, but I still look for veterans to do pro bono work because I finish with them pretty quickly, usually after about 3 or 4 sessions, and we get through the interview process and they start applying for jobs and I start helping prep them for interviews. They're generally able to now understand those skill sets that they had in the military, and they're well on their way to going down that path. But what I do is I send them a copy of the book, you know, and that becomes the textbook. That's where we start. The same way that I sat down at the kitchen table my first day home and said, okay, how am I going to figure this out? You know, that's what I do with them. But in terms of the paid clients that I have, man, that has been just absolutely fascinating. I haven't had any easy clients. I've talked to a couple of the life coaches. They're like, man, this is easy. And I'm like, I don't know who you're getting, but you know, most of the people I get, and I'm gonna give you a real funny story real quick. I end up having a free intake session with this guy, and he's overweight, and he's got diabetes, and he really, really wants to get into a fitness regimen. But he says, Stephen, I every day I put it off another day. It's been this way 6 months. He said, I just can't seem to do it. And I said, well, first of all, you got to really want to do it. And I went through all the steps with him, and he's like, you know, all right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll get with you next week. And he scheduled 3 appointments with me and paid me. And I'm thinking, you're not getting anything for this money because you're no closer to going to the gym. And he said, I need somebody to make me. And I said, what you want me to do? Get in a car and drive and physically drag you to the gym? I mean, come on. Well, he said, you don't understand. I have a mental block. And I said, yeah, you have self-imposed limitations. And here's what I did. I said, let me take you through a mental exercise. This is mindset. And this is hilarious because I can't believe it worked. And I said, all right, here's what I want you to do. Put your gym clothes on, go stand in front of the mirror. And he said, yeah, but I'm not going to the gym. I said, don't worry about it. Just put your clothes on, put your shoes on, stand in front of the mirror. I want to ask you some questions. So he puts his clothes on. He's like, all right, I'm in front of the mirror. I said, all right, what I want you to do is count the steps from the mirror to your car. Grab your car keys, get all your stuff like you go in the gym. And he said, no, I can't go to the gym. My wife's going to be home. I said, no, we're not going to the gym. I just need you to count the steps to the car. He gets there. I said, all right, now get in the car and put it in reverse and start backing out of your driveway. I need to know how far it is from your house to the gym. I con this guy all the way until he's in the parking lot of the gym. And he says, listen, my wife is texting me. We have to go eat. And I said, no, hold on a second. Last thing I need you to do, I need you to walk all the way back to the back of the gym where the bathrooms are. I need to know how many steps it is. And he said, well, how did you know the bathroom was in the back? I said, the bathroom's always in the back, man. Just walk. And he said, he gave me the number, and I said, that's 630 steps. We're halfway there. I said, now look around. Do you see a treadmill? And he said, yeah, there's one like 2 steps from me. I said, good. Get your ass up on that treadmill and start it up, and set it for 12 minutes. And he did. And the guy's been going to the gym every day since. Now, wow. And he's getting better and better and better. Matter of fact, I called him for a 4:00 appointment today, and he said, I can't talk right now. I'm at the gym doing an extra hour. And I'm like, all right, go ahead and do your thing. But it all started with getting rid of that mental block, like physically getting in that space. And I'm going to say this, and I don't talk about it in this book. I talk about it in my new book, which is coming out here in the next 90 days. But okay. I got to this thing where I go to the gym 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. In my head, like I have to go 7 days a week. And I have to go. Even if I'm injured, I still get in my car and drive to the gym, and I go inside. Mm-hmm. I'll walk to the back, go to the restroom, and then just leave. But getting there is half the battle. When I used to run, and I don't run much anymore, at least not outdoors, I would always set my shoes, my running shoes, next to the front door. So I just keep passing by. And I'm like, man, I don't feel like running. It's raining outside. But I'd say, all right, if I can just get the shoes on. And it became a process. All right, put your clothes on, put your shoes on. No, we're not running today. Just put your shoes on. Okay, now go outside the house. If I could get to the road, we're running 5 miles. That was the goal. It wasn't running. That'll take care of itself if I can just get there. So that became the philosophy. And with these clients that I've had recently, the paid clients, they all have self-imposed limitations. Mm-hmm. For every solution I give them, they give me back 2 problems. Well, no, you don't understand because my boss is this and my boss is that and blah, 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 And it's been a real challenge getting them around that mental block, those self-imposed limitations, and saying, hey, listen to me. What is the common denominator throughout the last 20 years of your life and all these messed up people that are holding you back? It's you. Mm-hmm. You're the common denominator. And until you go look in that accountability mirror, and talk to that guy in the mirror, because that guy in the mirror tells the truth. That's your worst enemy. But you got to go talk to that guy. And you got to get to a point to where you understand who you are and who it is you want to be. And then we got to put action behind those goals. And I'm just not used to being around people like that. Most of the veterans that I talk to are self-starters. They're fired up. You give them 5 things to do, man, they get it done that day. Wow. But in this civilian world, when I'm dealing with people wanting to start companies, it's like, yeah, but this and but that. And yeah, but then I have to do this and I have to do that. There was a client that I had that wanted to start an online business. Mm-hmm. I said, you need a website. Yeah, no, you don't understand, because in order to get a website, and I said, no, $29.99 Shopify. Mm-hmm. All right. You just put a credit card down, boom, you drag and drop, you're done in 30 minutes. Yeah. But then I got to do this and I got to do that. And I'm like, either you want it or you don't. That's why the first chapter in the book, we talk about, you got to know what you really, really want, because if that's not what you really, really want, you're not going to be able to do it. And I say all the time, if I decided tomorrow I want to be a mechanical engineer, Mike, I don't stand a chance in hell, because I don't want to be a mechanical engineer. I'm not going to go to 4 years of school, sit through all those classes, take all those exams to do something I don't want to do. I will eventually quit because I will realize it's not what I want, And I'll tell you this, I was a below average student in high school. Mm-hmm. We didn't have psychologists and stuff back then, but my teachers essentially said I was dyslexic. I don't remember the word they used, but like they told my mom and dad, he's doing the best he can do. C's is a huge accomplishment for him. Later, we would find out after I went to college, after I got out of the military, made one B for the rest of my life, and really felt like I got cheated and I deserved an A, but the mentality was different. It's the system that is in this book. I created a system, kind of like in my mind, kind of like the Art of War by Sun Tzu. If I could create these principles to live by, then it would give me that structure that I need. So essentially, below average student in high school, now I accomplish every goal I put out there, and it's because of the system. And I actually say in my book, Relentless Pursuit, you don't have to follow my foundations and principles. Follow the process that I use to come up with the foundations and principles. Come up with your own foundation and principles, but you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And if you're just floating in a canoe down the river of life and you don't know what you want, then you're never going to get to where you want to be. you got to know what you want. You got to have a reason why you want it, or it's all for nothing. Does that make sense?
Exactly does. And we'll talk about your book, put a wrap on Relentless Pursuit and what's coming up in 2021 and beyond for Stephen Nalley. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international war-winning author Mia Molson-Zia of Missing. We'll be back with author Stephen Nalley of Relentless Pursuit after this timeout.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mia Molson-Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and more. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, where The Mike Wagner Show interviews great guests, cool conversation, lots of laughs, coffee, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We're back with author Stephen Nalley of Relentless Pursuit here on the Mike Wagner Shows. A renowned business owner, veteran, entrepreneur, mentor, and author of Relentless Pursuit. And also just a couple of things as well. Where can we find Relentless Pursuit? And also what can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond, Stephen?
You can get the book pretty much anywhere online. You can get it at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Book Nook. I think it's called Book Nook. Books A Million. I mean, it's everywhere out there where you could possibly purchase a book online. The future, I got to tell you, I'm excited about a lot of things. I'm excited about the platform that I told you about with Blackbriar Advisors and the affordable housing, the hotel conversion to affordable housing. But another thing that I found since I've started doing this mentoring is it's not affordable. Most people who need help can't afford it. So I would like to build an organization of independent life coaches with real life experience that want to do pro bono work. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these guys aren't going to be able to afford to do this for free. But what I can tell them, to be a part of my network, you have to donate X amount of hours per week to do pro bono work within your field of expertise, and then charge a modest amount instead of $100 a session, maybe $25 or $30 a session, because the whole reason you want to be a mentor is because you want to give back. It's not a career to make your millions off of, but it's giving back. And I will tell you this, the reason that I'm thinking this, Mike, I was lucky, and I talk about it in my book. I've been surrounded by some phenomenal people, some good mentors. There was always somebody for me my whole adult life to go to and say, hey, I'm confused about this. I don't know how to do that, or I'm trying to figure this out. And I don't know. I networked very well and had some great mentors. Well, everybody doesn't have that. And $100 an hour to me is absolutely ridiculous. And I didn't begin doing it because I wanted to make money. I've already got a net worth. And I would like to think there's probably 100 people out there like me that would want to do some pro bono work within their field of expertise and then charge a minimum amount, to take on clients that were worthy. Now, you probably don't want to do $25, $30 an hour for that client that just complains the whole time. You want somebody that knows what they want and somebody that's got the compelling reason why, and they're willing to work for it. But I want to make this life coaching thing affordable for everybody and the people who really need it. Okay. You know, that's what I'd like to do, because I see a real hole there. You know, most of the people that I speak to on a daily basis don't have a mentor. They don't have somebody they can just call up and say, hey, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to get this promotion, or, you know, I'm concerned about my relationship. I mean, somebody asked me the other day, what is your experience? And I said, life, 52 years of life, you name it, I've done it, you know? And if I don't know, I'll be honest with you and tell you I don't know, and we'll find somebody that can help you, you know?
Right.
So I think that's what's next for me. Obviously writing. I was in Writer's Life magazine this month. I got pretty excited about that. Like I said, my second book is in the process of being published. I'll probably write another 5 or 6 books, all for the same theme of relentless pursuit, breaking down each chapter into a book. Like I said, this next one coming out is on mental toughness and mentality. And then go into communication, go into continuous learning. And, you know, by the time I'm done, have about 6, 7 books out there. I don't really care if I make money, but, you know, it's legacy. I want to get that information out there because it's been beneficial to me. You know, if you had the cure for cancer, you got to share it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's very important as well, too, Stephen. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Definitely Staff Sergeant Michael Smith, my first squad leader with the 10th Mountain Division. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I talk about him extensively in my book. He was somebody that I just looked at and emulated and wanted to be like, you know, when I was young, meaning he had honor, he had character, he had integrity. You know, I had mad respect for him. And even to this day, I have a lot of respect for him. I think that he probably is the most influential person in my life other than my mother and father.
And that's very amazing and very important as well, Stephen. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Figure out what you want, figure out why you want it. And once you figure that out, relentlessly pursue the hell out of it. I mean, you don't fail unless you quit or don't get started. Any goal is achievable if you're willing to work for it. On the cover of my book, it says, my only real talent in life is that I can't be outworked. That's been my theme most of my life. If you're willing to put in the work, okay, and you're willing to work hard for it, and you're willing to make sacrifices, every goal is achievable. The higher the goal, obviously, the higher the price. The more work you're going to have to put into it, the more sacrifices you're going to make. But, you know, you got to get started, and then you have to have a failure is not an option mentality. You just got to push through the adversity.
And that's very important as well, too. And once again, author Stephen Nalley, also business owner, veteran, entrepreneur, and mentor on the Mike Wagner Show with Relentless Pursuit. Stephen, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. Don't forget to keep in touch. Once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book?
Absolutely. You got it, buddy.
Okay. And what's the website again? And how do people purchase your book?
They can go to StephenNalley.com, StephenNalley.com. They can get it there. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and a variety of other places online.
We certainly will check that out. Once again, Stephen, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. Don't forget to keep in touch. You've been absolutely terrific with Relentless Pursuit.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. My name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.